I'm Harvey Briggs, the editor and publisher of Rides and Drives, and today I'm in St. Petersburg, Florida at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, and I'm here with Cara Krstolic, the director of
Race engineering
race
and production.
engineering? Right.
Yes.
So you're the chief engineer
Yes.
here for these Firestone tires that all the IndyCars wear. Can you tell me a little bit about your background and how you got here to St. Pete?
It's certainly. So when I was a kid, I loved science experiments, so engineering seemed like a natural passion. My mom was a science teacher, grandfather engineer at NASA, so I always thought hands-on engineering. To me, engineering was like playing with toys and figuring out how they worked. So I was always the one that liked to steal my brother's Legos and steal his other Transformers. I loved Transformers back in the day.
Great.
Take them apart, tried to put them back together where I could. But I loved science. I ended up at the University of Akron, where I studied mechanical engineering. And being from Akron, Ohio, this is the rubber capital of the world. That's where Firestone is from. So
yeah, exactly. And so how did you get into the racing side of the business? And how much fun is it?
Well, I really wanted to work in motorsports. So when I was in college, we designed an open-wheel car and raced it. And I thought that was so neat. And I thought, all right, if I can work in automotive, especially working in motorsports, that would be wonderful. I talked to a lot of companies in the area, and then I realized Firestone is just in my backyard, and they've been racing, they won the very first Indy 500 in 1911.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, so been around forever and been back at the Speedway since 1980, I believe, the sole tire provider. So talk about the tires. A lot of people may not know all that goes into making a race tire. So can you talk about the anatomy of a race tire a little bit for me?
Yeah, so a race tire is not too different than the tires that you and I put on our cars. There's a lot of technology that we developed in IndyCar that ends up making its way to the Bridgestone and Firestone passenger tires. But still, you hear the phrase round, black, and made of rubber.
Yeah.
Well, not all of that is actually true. It's mostly round and it's mostly black, and there can be some natural rubber content in it. But they're unique structures. So it's basically a bonded structure that's got layers of fabric and of different types of materials. You've got polymers and sulfurs and resins and carbon blacks and all kinds of things to give these tires their shape and their properties.
Right. And so when someone thinks about a race tire and the different compounds, I know we've got two compounds here at St. Pete this week. Talk about why that is and what's some of the strategies behind using two compounds.
All right, so the first thing that you're going to see that makes our race tires unique is the tread. There is tread here, but there is not a tread pattern. So the tires that you and I are going to put on our cars, we want them to have tread blocks and tread elements to get the water away from the center of the contact patch. We only use a treaded tire here in IndyCar if it's going to rain. Otherwise, we have a very unique tread compound that touches almost 100% of where that rubber meets the road is contact.
Because you want as big a contact patch as possible to help with cornering, braking, and acceleration forces,
yes.
correct?
The only place the tire touches the ground is the car touches the ground is the tires.
Right.
We have two different types of slick tires. We call them slicks. That means no tread. We have the black sidewall Firestone primary tires, and then we have the red sidewalled Firestone alternate tires. The only difference between these two is really just that tread compound, so the top layer of material that actually touches the racetrack. So same structure, but you vary the tread compound. Alternate tire tread compounds has a higher grip, but it's going to have more drop-off as the season goes on.
So if you're planning then, in this race, we have to run two sets of alternate tires during the race. So you really have to plan out when you're going to stop, so you optimize the tire, get rid of it before it degrades too much, right?
We want to maximize the potential of the tire. I have a friend in IndyCar who always likes to say, you have $1. Each tire is $1. Do you choose to spend 90 cents of the dollar on your outlap, or do you choose to spend the dollar over the stint? So if a driver can take care of their tires, they can get more out of the tire, and then the primary tire is just going to be as pretty durable and consistent throughout the entire lap. But you're going to get more advantage out of the alternate tire early, and if you can make sure you take care of those, you're going to maximize the potential.
So for qualifying, someone might run the alternate tire because it has more grip and could provide a better lap time for qualifying, but then during the race, they may start on that, get rid of it quickly, and then move to a primary tire for a longer run.
Yes, and that's a possibility. We'll see a lot of different things. We'll see some used tires being run again. We'll see new tires, so there'll be a little bit of a difference there.
Now, I was told that you guys are providing 32,000 tires to IndyCar for the season, and something like 60 different compounds depending on the track.
Different 60 or so different types of tires.
So
every time you see a car on the track, every tire there is different. Even though the left front and the right front tires look like they're the same size, they're actually constructed differently, in that when you put them on the car, you want them to be in those positions, because we've had teams that have accidentally put them on the wrong positions. It makes a very grumpy driver.
I can imagine.
Yes.
So what's the difference, say, between a tire here at St. Petersburg and a tire that's been developed for the Indy 500?
So that's a great question. Here in St. Pete, we have a lot of braking, we have a lot of acceleration, so tractive force has to be very important. The other important thing is you're going to run over different bumps and different anomalies in the surface. You want the tire to absorb that. Where at the Indianapolis 500, we're only turning left, and then we're turning left again, and then again. So all of the time we're turning, that weight transfers to the outside or right side tires. Those tires have to be strong, they have to be durable, and then the left side tires are what can help provide some of that grip on a lightly loaded situation.
Got it. And the cars are heavier now with the hybrid system, so you probably had to go back and rework these things completely, right?
Yeah, with first of all, the addition of the aero screen, which is a wonderful addition, has been great for the safety and of the drivers on the track. And now the hybrid system is very heavy, so the demands that we have out of the tires, especially the front tires, are increasing and increasing. So even with oval tires, we're actually going back and looking at how can we make a wider tire, how can we get more air volume. So yes, we have had to adjust the design of the tires over the heavy weight of this car.
So you play with things like the rigidity in the sidewall, that kind of stuff, to adapt it from.
The easy changes the tread, but then you get into the actual construction of the tire and the shape and what molds they go on. All of it makes a difference.
So speaking of that, I see this Enlighten logo on the side of the tire. Talk about that, what that is and what that means for these race tires.
So just like passenger tires, Bridgestone and Firestone passenger tires use what we call Enlighten technology. And that is anything from being able to have the next generation high performance compounds or the structures, or in our case, we have materials that are going into the tires that are very sustainable.
Okay.
So a couple of the things that we're using in these street course tires here, we've got recycled steel in them, we've got recycled carbon black, and we actually have soybean oil in both the treads and the sidewalls of the tires too. So there's a lot of different components, and those are just some of them. There are others that we're putting in.
So creating a lower impact environmental tire for use in this series then.
So the idea is we want to use motorsports as a sustainable, a mobile lab of sorts to be able to develop and prove out our sustainable technology. We can do that in IndyCar because the numbers of tires are very small. So we can have that material come in and we can make a pretty big impact with that, and then we can learn from it. The idea or goal is that at some point we're going to be moving that into passenger tires as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. You talked about it a little bit, but the work you do here at the track, how does that translate to the street and the cars, the tires we put on our cars and truck?
Yeah, well, last time I drove my Audi, I did not drive it 200 miles per hour or 240 miles per hour. I promise I didn't. So we really need to worry about, in a passenger tire, you have to worry about things like rain, you have to worry about tire mileage. If you're driving in the winter time, if it's all season tire, you have to worry about snow. We don't have to worry about all of those, but we have the high speed, the durability, all of those key items that you have at IndyCar racetracks. However, there are a lot of technology items that we can try to carry over, and really we've been able to find that mobile lab approach with sustainability and some of the things we do with sustainability.
That's great. Well, Cara, thank you very much for taking a few minutes to talk to us and help our viewers understand the differences between these tires. We really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great weekend here at the track.
Well, thank you. It was good to talk to you, Harvey.